So, hello everybody. It is me, Demetra K, and I'm sitting here by myself at this moment. Walter and Donovan will be joining us momentarily. So, I'm going to give everybody a moment to come in. I'm going to do a little bit of tap dancing to give them a chance to come on. But anyway, the purpose of the Demetra K show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people with the emphasis on even because we are great people, but we can always strive to do better. So I also like to say a big giant thank you, hello, and welcome to that of Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter X. That's funny. X. You are the other side of the conversation and you are family. And from time to time, we do share the link so that you can come up here and voice your opinion, ask a question. All I ask is that if I have not seen you on here before, that you show me your face before I bring you up to the big screen. Really just to verify that it's you and it's, no shenanigans, because sometimes people like to act crazy and we don't want that on here. I also ask that you keep your commentary pertinent to what we are talking about at the moment. Don't come up here deviating, talking about, the sky is blue or something if we are not talking about that. But nevertheless, it is political season, election season, I should say, where we will be voting for a president in November. And so, of course, we're going to start to see not only political season get into full effect, but we're going to start to see silly season get into full effect. And this particular day, we're going to talk about Democrats growing concern about Black voters abandoning, keyword, abandoning them and going to the Republican Party. Also, because it is Wealth Wednesday, we're going to talk with Walter about ways we can minimize the effect of either party, right? Learn how to do for self just a little bit more, a lot more, right? Because as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, I mean, the Republicans or the Democrats, no matter who's in the White House, neither one of them care for Black people. So we need to care for ourselves. But we definitely want to talk about the Democratic Party, thinking that they are owed our vote. And again, the key word being abandoned, right? Like, what do you mean we're abandoning you? Are we supposed to, like, do we have to vote for you? And, you're concerned about Black people, the Black voter, abandoning you being the Democrats, but you've abandoned Black people. So are you more special? Like, what's going on here? So, of course, we'll have that conversation in just a minute. But let me go to the comment section and see who showed up here. Beverly, how are you doing, your average logical thinker? What's going on with you? So of course, and at Joe Jude Machon, how are you doing this evening? So as I said again, too, it is Wealth Wednesday. Of course, y'all know Walter was missing in action for a while, but he said that he is back. Is he? He is not here yet. But nevertheless, I'm sure he'll show up again. Donovan is getting set up. Troy, how are you doing this fine evening? So, really at this point, I'm just trying to stall till they get here. I'm trying to think what has happened in the last couple of days or so, or even but from the last time that I've seen you guys, which was yesterday, right? Nasaj, how are you doing? Long time no see. There's so much going on in the world. Tanaya, how you doing? I hope all is well with you. I don't know. I really don't know what's going on. I average article thing. It said, did you all ever get that article about reparations from Michael? Michael's pulling all of our legs, and I know he was pulling our legs. Basically, Michael is a viewer over the show, and I'm sure he'll be on here tonight. And he came up here when I asked him not to, unless he has something pertinent to say in regards to the situation. And he says, "Oh, did you guys know the Republicans are now on board with reparations for Black people?" Now, if you don't know, Michael is Asian. And so I'm sitting here like, sure they are. Because we know, especially in the United States, most people, whether they're Republican or Democrat, do not want Black people, American descendants of slavery, to have reparations. They don't feel like it's something we should have because they weren't there. It's not their responsibility. Slavery's been over. You guys need to pull yourself up by the bootstraps, all that kind of conversation. And so when I heard from him, being Michael, that the Republicans are now on board with that, it's like, which Republicans? Because we know that there's actually a few Republicans, I think one in Florida and one somewhere else that basically said that they wanted to put it, make it a federal law that if any state gives reparations to Black people, then they should be not allowed to have or get federal funding for anything. So they actually want to punish states that are thinking about giving or would give Black people, American descendants of slavery, reparations. So that's a that was a lie. I don't know what Michael was on last night, but yeah. He also said, "Are you going to discuss the New York?" Yeah, I just saw that too. New York high school students being forced to do virtual learning so the migrants aren't affected by the storm. Man, I saw that and I was like, "Is this a joke?" But then I kept seeing it even more, right? And of course, that's in New York City, where Eric Adams is the mayor. Of course, we know that the storm, it's actually going to affect all of the United States. Now, obviously, in some areas like New York, Chicago, and stuff like that, is going to be colder because it typically is, right? So there's snow and all that kind of stuff. Now, of course, the migrants coming over to the United States, they don't typically have a place to live. And so they would be on the street, right? But my question is this: why didn't they clear the high school for homeless people who are, and are New Yorkers? Did they do that for them? Because I mean, it really, I guess, wouldn't be cool if they did that too, but it'd be more acceptable. Like, yeah, it makes sense. It's cold. They're going to freeze to death. Let's have the children learn at home, because they were doing that during the pandemic, right? So they kind of maybe still used to it. But to have the American children altered the way they learn so that people who came over here and who should not have come over here can have that school. That Eric Adams should be a one-term mayor. Now I know that he has been fighting, if you will, kind of sort of with the Biden administration, saying, "Hey, you guys kind of left us hanging here. You guys said you were going to give us money and you haven't, and we're operating in the red now." And and then they ran up in his office too, and they ran up in his, I guess, his campaign manager's office. They being the feds. So he hasn't really said much to or about the Biden administration since. But yeah, the mayors that are co-signing that kind of stuff or spearheading it, they need to just be out of there. Hey Angela, how you doing? It says reparations go way beyond slavery. Oh, absolutely. But that's not how they see it, right? Because of course, with the conversation of reparations, that's when it came up during the end of slavery, right? We were supposed to get 40 acres and a mule. Of course, that didn't happen. It was actually the slave master that got reparations for losing their slaves. Now they gotta work. And so you're right, it goes past slavery, is Jim Crow, and it's even what we're going through now, right? And just Black Wall Street and any and everything that you can think of. Hey Donovan. Let's see here. Cynthia, how you doing? It says, "I'm not abandoning them for Republicans. I don't like Republicans either." Right. And that's the other thing. Some people, sorry about that. Donovan, can you take this for a second?
What a day. Can you guys hear me now? Okay, sorry about that, guy. Welcome to the Demetri K Show. One of these last minute type things. It's been a hectic day, a lot of family issues I'm dealing with. My 100-year-old grandfather, he is in the hospital right now. And they are working on him. He seems to be fussing and cussing, so that's a good sign. But welcome to the Demetri K Show. In case she did not tell you guys, please go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, share on your platforms, and do all of that. I am Donovan Sadiq, the recovering Democrat, as also known as the Black Yul Brynner. Hey, a lot of you guys are now in recovery. You guys are now seeing exactly what it is we were talking about. So let me just say this to everybody that's out there. Hey, Black America, Tanaya, ambitious hustler, your average logical thinker. Thank you for the well wishes. The man's 100 years old. I mean, we're happy that he made it to 100. So World War II veteran, all this other stuff. So all his family, he has 6 brothers. He's one of 6 brothers, 1 sister. And all of them lived into their 90s. So hopefully I'll get some of those genes. Cynthia, hello. Angela, welcome back. Nosage Landrum, hello, welcome to see you. Good to see you guys. Welcome back. Give me a second. I'm trying to catch up. Democrats are growing concerned about Black voters abandoning them for the Republican Party. Yes, a lot of people have realized they are in recovery. And just like I was talking to Demetra today, just before I came on here, Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, is talking about we have a $38 billion deficit or $93 billion deficit here in California. And he wants to cut programs and do things to pay for it, right? But didn't Gavin Newsom just now give health care to undocumented illegal people? How are you going to pay for that? You know, maybe if we didn't have to pay for that, we wouldn't have these deficits. But these are the type of people that we are bringing in the office. The question is, what are you as a Black person going to do about it? Why are we still sitting here being silent about our situation and where we stand as a people? The Democratic Party is doubling down on their attack on Black people. Where are our generals and our warriors out there to stand up there unapologetically and fight this out? Look at what happened to Chicago. It's already happened to Los Angeles. So we really can't talk about Black people here in Los Angeles. I mean, we're done. Hopefully other people in other cities will realize what is happening by the Democratic Party. So there we go.
Sorry about that. Yeah, that was I had to take that call. Sorry about that. Okay, where did you leave off?
Oh no, I was going into my own tirade. So
sorry.
Yeah, there you go.
So let's see here. Let me see who else came on here. Okay, so yeah, Cynthia. So you said you're not abandoning them for the Republicans. Yeah, some people aren't going to vote for either. Some people are just going to abstain altogether. But more specifically, who else came on here before I get started? Black America, how you doing? It says Black reparations. All Americans will starve, won't have gas for cars. The country will fall into a tailspin. Knock it off. Ambitious hustler, how you doing? He says, come pull up on me and stop playing. Okay, where you at? Ursula, how you doing? He says, we still have our slave last name because we lost our true heritage. We can never get our real family's name back. Remind them of that next time they want to talk about how long ago it was. Then they go into, well, you're better off over here, aren't you? Over there, if you came from Africa, because I know some people was already here. You was running around with a loincloth and you were naked, spear chucking everywhere, and just, all that nonsense. Brother Don, how you doing? So anyway, let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so I actually saw this article in The Hill, and it's basically saying the Democrats feel entitled to the Black vote, and they're now concerned about Black people abandoning the party, right? Of course, the Democrats have benefited from the Black vote for a very long time. It's arguable whether it was with Roosevelt or with Lyndon B. Johnson, right? Definitely during the 1964 Civil Rights Act, you have more Black people go over to the Democratic Party because traditionally we were Republicans, and that kind of took place during Reconstruction, right? We actually have more Black men in Congress than we do now back in the 1800s. Then, of course, it was the Democrats that were the party of the KKK. Let's just keep it a buck. Now, I know there was some sort of switching and stuff like that going on, but, back then it was. So Black people were traditionally Republican, but then we had, these different administrations come in, Roosevelt, then, of course, Lyndon B. Johnson, where Black people got a little bit more rights, not much, then we started to go over to the Democratic Party, and we've been that ever since. So now, of course, as I was saying earlier, the election season, the Democrats need Black votes. They need Black votes regardless to get anywhere. And of course, infamously, we heard Joe Biden stand up there and say, hey, y'all still behind me? I'm going to stand behind y'all. And of course, he has not done that. Now, per this article, and I admittedly did not watch the whole speech of Joe Biden when he was in South Carolina a couple of days ago. But I guess Representative James Clyburn blamed the shooting that actually took place in that church by Dylan Roof, where he murdered 9 people there. He blamed it on Trump. Now, Trump, he was running for president in 2015, but he wasn't president yet. In fact, they said the shooting took place a day after Trump entered the race. But there, James Clyburn is blaming Trump, for Dylan Roof. And it's like, within this article, they were talking about the fear mongering that has been perpetuated on Black people from the Democratic Party. Of course, you hear Trump is going to do this, or Trump is going to do that, and you Black people need to get in there, and blah, 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 blah. We've even heard that Black people are going to be back in chains again. That came from Biden, you know, and just a whole host of other things. And they've actually made Black people feel like it's our job to get rid of Trump. They haven't really charged any other race with that I can think of. It's always been on the Black voter, right? They go into our establishments and they tell us, you know, if you guys don't show up, Trump is going to come back. And if Trump comes back, they never really answer what's going to happen if Trump comes back. You ever notice that? Biden said, oh, you guys might be back in change and this, that, and the other. And it's like, you mean the change differently than the mass incarceration of Black people? You know, the one that you were at the helm of, differently than that? So they never really answer that question as to what exactly is going to happen to Black people differently that's going on now if Trump comes back. And the other question is this. What happened to Black people? Let's really have a good conversation about this tonight, okay? What happened to Black people? And I should say this because Lord knows I know what I'm not an advocate for Trump. I am asking questions tonight, okay? What happened bad to Black people when Trump was in office? If anybody can answer that, I'm going to actually open up the link so y'all can come up here. You know, those y'all who are, you know, thinking that Trump is the absolute boogeyman to Black people. What happened to Black people that was bad under the Trump administration? Also, that did not happen to us under the Obama administration, the Clinton administration, and now the Biden administration. Hell, we even throw Reagan in there. You know, we could throw both Bushes in there. You know, we could throw everybody in there. What happened to us? Because did we hear this argument as much even with the other Republican presidents, how, you know, a hole was going to open up in the ground and swallow Black people up if this particular Republican was in office? I don't think we did. So nobody's really answering that question. But the article took issue with how dare the Republicans feel so, I mean, not the Republicans, the Democrats feel so entitled to the Black vote when they have done nothing for Black people. Now, remind you, the Hill is a, you know, pretty much conservative newspaper. Now, if you ask me also, they're using this as pandering too, because they're saying, hey, Black people, why y'all keep voting for the Democrats? They ain't did nothing for you, you know, but Republicans not so much either. But they're saying, well, we don't really pander for y'all vote like that, but the Democrats do. But now the Democrats are concerned because you guys, you Black voters, are abandoning them and you're jumping ship, and they are worried. So Donovan and Walter, with that, let me just acknowledge everybody that came on here. Donovan, I'm gonna give it to you, and then I'm gonna give it to Walter. How you doing, Walter? Let's see here. Okay. Oh, Negroes, how you doing? It says, should we switch to independent? We're gonna answer that question. And let's see here. Hey, Thunder, I got some. I'm gonna show you something. Just a minute. I got something to show you. Oh yes, it's very sexy. Trust me. Mr. X, how you doing? And let's see here. Thunder, you also say, how long do you think it will take before they threaten us with a re-enslavement? Well, Joe Biden did when he was running. I think he says, y'all gonna be back in chains. Natural Locks, how you doing? And TEW 1970, how you doing? Says absolutely nothing under all presidents said. And JJ, how you doing? Says, I remember years ago how many whites would sometimes successfully treat Black folks by telling them Democrats created the KKK, which is true, but the GOP is just as equally as bad and racist. That I agree with.
Yeah, the Republicans that are racist right now were the former Dixiecrats that crossed over to the conservative thing. So it's the same people that created KKK. They just became Republicans. That's all.
Southern switch. And your average logical thinker says now they're using Michelle Obama to scare us regarding Trump. They're pulling out all the stops. Yes, she says she's afraid she can't sleep at night. It's like, heifer, you live on Martha's Vineyard. What you mean you can't sleep at night?
Your compound.
And they got $100 million Netflix deal with a #1 movie on Netflix. They'll be all right.
Yeah, so it's like, stop it. You know, Mr. X says, you know what was bad when Trump was in office? I had more money in my pocket instead of lint. Some people have said that. odd Negro, and I said old Negro, odd Negro. How you doing? By the way, he says, we can't have a separate government from them. Clearly, they are trying to kill us and keep us poor because of racism. All right, let's see. Cynthia said if Trump comes back, it will be a disaster, just like Biden. We need new young people. Okay. Black America says your tax went up when he canceled the Pell Grants. All you have to do is look for it. So who is this? Arniba, how you doing? Beach Material. Who else came on here? Thunder says, am I wrong for not being too overly concerned with re-enslavement? For real? Says, I remember when a bunch of black folks were getting deleted, the NFAC popped up. If they try to, a lot of us will not stand by. Okay. So Donovan, what you think about all of that?
Well, that's really great. But, my brother Walter has come on the show. This is what everybody tunes into every Wednesday. So let's give it to Walter first and swing it around.
I don't know if you want me to get on this subject. I might have to plead the fifth. Oh, man. So let me get this straight. I hear this re-enslavement thing. Are we going to be slaves again? You guys, that's the Democrat. That's that swing low Negro stuff. Let's knock that off. Black people, we're far from being slaves. You guys, you know what? I've been watching Thomas Sowell. D, I think you hooked me up with this dude, or somebody hooked me up with this brother, Thomas Sowell. This dude is the truth. Forget going to church. Just watch this dude on YouTube. You can get everything you need to know. He made a really good point, and I think black people, I think we forget this, that we did better when white people were at their worst. When white people were, you drink out of that sink, nigga, you have to sit in the back of the bus, you can't come in our hotel and restaurants. Black people did the best. From 1920 to 1960, the African movement, I'm using the African people, descendants of Africans of Africa, was astronomical. The marriage rate was at an all-time high. Kids being raised in a single-parent home was at a low. I mean, if you look at the statistics, we were doing astronomical when 1960 rolled around, and they started welfare, versus having a man in the house, and you don't have to get a check, you don't have to work, we'll cut you a check. 1960, if you look at it, for black people, it slowed down. The progression slowed down tremendously. Like Black Wall Street and all those things were created when black people had no choice. You know what I'm saying? So to keep saying that, are we going to become slaves again? I think that's a little silly. Another thing too, what did Donald Trump do against black people? That's what I haven't heard anyone say. Like, he's trying to shut this border, and he's been trying to shut this border for years. Now you Negroes want them. Now you want Trump to come to your town and shut the border down. Because now your jobs that were going to you and your kids are now going to these migrants. They come over here, they get health care, they get mental health, they get all these things. And you can't even walk into a center and even get $4 to put gas in your tank. But these migrants can come over and get housing, food, everything. You guys, if Donald Trump would be in office right now, that migrant flow would be to a drip. And we probably have the wall. But I still, to my original question, I haven't heard one thing that Donald Trump did for bad to black people. All I hear is the Democratic scare tactics. Oh, if Donald Trump comes into office, black people are doomed. Again, my question is, what did he do against black people? He visited the crime bill again. He looked at criminal justice reform when he got that woman out of jail for drugs, him and Kim Kardashian. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. He gave us stimulus money with no paperwork. Can you breathe this mirror, fog this mirror? Here's your SBA loan. Here's your PPP loan. And he reduced our taxes. And the list goes on and on and on. So name something that Donald Trump has done to hurt black people. Not to mention he loaned almost a zillion civil rights leaders and business people. He loaned them the money to start their businesses. Judge Joe Brown, all those cats, and didn't even need the money back. I don't hear nobody talking about that.
Yeah, so maybe, those who are wondering, and let me go back to this comment. And hello to everybody that came on here. Thunder, are you on here still? I got something I want to show you. I think you're going to be very excited.
And the Pell Grant is not for Black people, and it's PELL, my brother. No, I never went to college, but I know I filled out a Pell application. No, the Pell Grant is not for Black people. The Pell Grant is for all people. That's something we have to keep in mind. We got to separate Black people from programs. The Pell Grant wasn't created for us. It's for everybody. You know, like white kids, Jewish kids, we all have the ability to fill out a Pell Grant application. Yeah, race relations got worse. I give you that. He woke up the Southern whites. He woke up.
Did Donald Trump actually wake up the Southern whites, or I know he came out with "Make America Great Again," that kind of stuff, but did he wake them up, or were they already awake? And like, can we really charge Trump with that? Did he make them something they weren't? Were they in hiding?
No, I say woke up. He made it okay for them to come outside. He gave them the ability to feel like they had a voice to be heard, so they were more vocal about coming outside. That's what I meant when I say woke up. I mean wake. They were awake, but
Thunder. I got. What's your handle? What's your handle, baby? What? I'm trying to call you. Thunder actually was telling us about this Bofang radio, and in case, or not in case, but when the go down, we gonna need one of these radios so that we can communicate in case all frequencies and everything go down. We can say, Thunder, help, and he gonna be like, I'm sorry, I can't. There you go. See, I got me one. So anyway, yeah, I mean, so yeah, I guess some people are figuring that, Trump emboldened them. But that's also to say, do you want them to stay in the closet? Do you want them to be hidden? Because when I hear that, Trump has emboldened, white supremacists, what about the ones that aren't as loud about it? Are we concerned about them as well?
Wait a minute. Why are we even talking about white supremacists? What about your so-called liberal Democrats that come out and, every time there's a Black shooting, I see all my white liberal friends, my Hispanic friends, my Asian friends, I see them in the streets protesting and demanding that Black people get justice. Let's talk about those people. We know who the racists are. We know what that's going on. What about your liberal friends? Where are they at when Black issues are apparent? Matter of fact, we're talking about reparations. Everybody in the Black community is talking about reparations in one form or another. Either you're for it, if you're an old, young person, you know what's happening, or you're an old person that just don't want people to get it, right? Where's AOC? Show me a Hispanic congressional member or Asian Pacific Island congressional member that is out there saying, yes, Black people need to get this. Yes, we got to do this. Yeah, we get somebody, we're going to get you a study. We're going to get you a study. That's what we should be talking about. Forget the racist people. We know they're not going to do nothing for us. Where's your liberal damn friend? That's what I want to know. All you people, hey, I got a bunch of white friends. Hey, we're going golfing next week. We're doing this next week. Oh, yeah, we're having a girls' night out. We're going to go out with my girlfriend. When was the last time you saw your friend get in the streets with you and agree with you that Black people need reparations, that Black people need this, Black people need that? They're nowhere to be found. All of my so-called liberal, white, Asian, Mexican, Hispanic, whatever friends, whenever there's a Black tragedy, silence. But then let something happen in the Middle East and against the Zionist state, Donovan, you got to say something. Why aren't you saying something? Why aren't you standing up for Israel? That's what we got to really start thinking about. We got to start holding these liberals that you guys, since you guys aren't in recovery like me, we got to start holding them accountable. Where are they at? But every year you get your Hispanic representatives and your city council members, and you guys are voting for them wholeheartedly, but they never, ever do anything for the Black community. And here we are now in the fourth quarter, 15 seconds left. we're on the 2-yard line and we got to score a touchdown just to stay in the damn game.
Yeah, and hi Darius, how you doing? We always have this conversation about white supremacists. Like Black America says, when's the last time you saw them, marching in the streets? What about the white supremacists that aren't marching in the streets? What about the ones that work in the hospital? What about the ones that work in the bank? What about the ones that are in schools and, everyday life, right? We're walking around thinking we're good, but what about the ones that don't have a WS on their forehead or whatever? Are we concerned about them too? Because see, I would rather know that they're out there and they're marching. Okay, we know who they are, but what about the waitress that's serving your food? That that may have a husband or somebody's burning a cross somewhere, and you sit up there talking, yeah, I want some, some soup. And she doing something adverse to your soup. I mean, I'm just asking questions.
I mean, it sounds like as a Black person, you could spend the rest of your life being scared. I think you guys really need to listen to Thomas Sowell, like seriously. Black people, there's so many. I'm listening to this, and I've been listening to all this stuff all week with this subject. Black people, we're the most scaredest people in the world. White supremacists is there. They have been there forever. They've been there since the beginning of time. White supremacy has been an issue, but Black people thrived during white supremacy. Black people did the best when white supremacy was in our face. Nigga, you can't go over there and open a hotel, so we opened.
You can't say the N-word up on here.
Oh, well, whatever. The N-word they used to call us. We did better. We have all these things in our favor. It's funny. I've been running these streets like a madman the last few days. Is there white supremacy out there? Sure. I had a white lady give me the middle finger today. Matter of fact, DL's on the phone with you. I didn't say she's a white supremacist. I was just like, oh, she having a bad day. And then I had to stop myself from running her off the road. But if we got to get to the point where we just live our life. And we're not going to talk about the DL Hughley things. Sister said it's too much, so we'll talk about it another time. But Black people, we are capable. Do you guys understand that most Black people are in the middle class? Think about that for a second. When you think about Black people, we're struggling, we don't have enough this or that. Most Black people are in the middle class. Most Black people are not poor, especially when you talk about a couple, husband and wife together. That poverty rate, that unemployment rate is below 10%. Period. When you have a man and a woman in the house, I know that's an odd thing to talk about, a man and a woman in the house raising their children. Lord forbid. But I'm just saying. So we have all these good things going for us. What if we just took half the time we spent worried about the white man and took half of that time and worried about working on our own progress? Like, what would that look like? Because this is a conversation Black people have been having since the civil rights movement. Black people, it has gotten worse. The only difference is now we got Joe Biden in office and we have all these migrant workers coming in to take your job. And then Black people, I think we have something, I don't want to say most Black people that understand how minimum wage works aren't fans of minimum wage, but we just got the minimum wage. And you know what they're doing? Cutting jobs. And when minimum wage goes up, then you have other people in other jobs that switch to take those easier to do jobs. My bank manager is getting $19 an hour. Minimum wage is $20. She could go anywhere down. And who are they fighting for those jobs? The young people, the young kids that needed those minimum wage jobs. And you really think an employer is just going to start paying everybody more? No, they're going to cut you. California, they've already started laying off. The restaurants have already started cutting staff. They're not going to lose money. But these are the type of things that I hear a lot of Black people saying, we need more money, we need minimum wage versus, start your own thing and you create your own wage.
But, I would say, I don't know if it's necessarily a lot of Black people are saying, we need more minimum wage. But I think the conversation just really needs to be had. The jobs that we are speaking of that pay minimum wage, somebody's got to do that, right? Because the customer is going to want a hamburger or taco or, like a mute your mic, you opening your mail or something, a dry cleaning or, whatever it is, whatever's paying minimum wage, people are going to want that. And so you're asking people to work there. Now, I know traditionally minimum wage jobs used to be for teenagers, right? Because we've all, when we were teenagers, to some degree had a minimum wage job, or we can go to the mall, or, whatever it was. But now you got people who are, trying to be adults and have adult responsibilities with minimum wage. And so minimum wage needs to be brought up to the standard of living. And it's just not. Like, I live in Texas, minimum wage is $7.25 an hour. Where on earth are can you survive on $7.25 an hour unless you got 2 or 3 other $7.25 an hour jobs? So the other argument is they find money for everything else. State of California, they're going to pay, take care of migrants. They're going to give all of them health care.
700,000 undocumented that they know of.
Yeah, and it's going to cost $2.6 billion a year for them to do that. And so when you had a conversation about, minimum wage or whatever the case is, I know the minimum wage usually is from a proprietor of a business or whatever. It doesn't really have anything to do with the state. But if they're concerned with that, they could maybe, grant some businesses money if they want, but they want to take the money to take care of migrants. And Donovan, what was you saying was going on in California as of today?
Right now, Gavin Newsom just it came on. We were talking earlier. He has a $93 billion deficit or something, or 93 or 39. My dyslexia is kicking in, but we're in a deficit. And what he's going to do now, he's going to start cutting back services. Services. We are taxpayers. Pay one of the highest tax paid states in the nation, and you want to come back and tax us more, but you had money to put these people in social care and give them health care.
Why did you keep voting for these Democrats? California was ran by Arnold Schwarzenegger. It was one of the tightest budgets we ever had. It was on point. I know a lot of my Democratic friends were complaining about Arnold cutting pensions and cutting the fat, but California ran efficiently. You guys want these Democrats back in office, they're going to run the states into the ground. I live in California. I'm an hour and a half from the Mexican border. I see them hopping the fence. I know once they hop that fence and their butt hits the dirt, they got all kind of rights and benefits. But y'all keep voting for these cats that keep these policies going. Like Chicago, these poor people over there, man, they're dying, and the migrants show up and they're getting everything. You keep voting for these cats. So you don't have the right to complain when you go to your box and you blue no matter who, and you check the Democrat box regardless of who is there. That's your fault that the services are being canceled and we're not getting the money and the migrants are getting everything. Because you keep voting for that stuff. And it ain't going to never change until you get them out of office. One thing about the Republicans, maybe they don't like people. Maybe they're not humane. That's kind of my approach to the Republican Party. But they appear to be more fiscally responsible, which is what we need, especially in California.
Well, in California, if you go to a Republican-held areas, it's like going to Disneyland. It's like a whole different land. The grass is cut, the streets are pristine. But you go anywhere in California where there's Democrats, you got crime, you got messed up streets, you got homeless people everywhere. I mean, these are just the facts, folks. These are just the facts. And this is California, one of the highest paid living states to live in. People have money here, or used to have money here, and yet this is what the Democratic Party does in California. Their policies is really detrimental to Black people, period, because it is so bad in California that right now they say the Black population is 6% in LA County alone. There's a mass exodus of Black people out of California, and you really don't see any Black people in California like you used to in the 90s. They can't afford to live here.
Donovan, hold on a second. American Black Holocaust survivor. I see you keep using a word that we don't use here. So if you want to join the conversation, we'd love to have you here. But we're not going to do all that divisiveness and, calling people names and all that. This is not the Call People Names podcast. We're a little bit more high frequency over here, and we're a little bit more productive and conducive. So if y'all cannot abstain from calling people names, I don't care where they come from. We don't call names on here. We're intelligent people. But if you cannot do that, perhaps you should excuse yourself and maybe go somewhere else where they think it's cool to be low frequency and calling names and all that other stuff. Please and thank you. Yeah, you say Africa has 54 failed divided countries. Well, what is your black ass doing over here in America? Or what are you doing that's so successful to make black Americans successful? We are at the bottom of every goddamn thing in the world, and you got the nerve to talk about people in Africa. What have you done to contribute to pulling us up from being a permanent underclass?
And Dimitri,
I'm gonna share the link. So I'm gonna share the link so you can come up here and you can explain to us all the contribution that you've made to black people in America, since you know what's going on over there and in all 54 countries in America.
And Dimitri, you've been to Africa, and especially South Africa. That is the most divisive area of affluency and poverty in the world. You can see a Google satellite of it. So in Africa, what makes what's going on in Africa, in South Africa, different than what's happening here?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. I mean, you ask a good question. It's like because y'all know I don't get into the argument of the mud of who's better, the better black, and I don't do it. I think it's counterproductive, right? I'm one of those. Let's focus on what we got going on over here, so we can fix us. I don't care what they got going over there as much as I care about what we have going on over here. So as far as who's the better black and all that, let me tell y'all a secret. Everywhere in the world where there is a black person who looks black, because I know people have a problem with calling themselves that, we at the bottom, everywhere, collectively. So how we get to this point where we're having hierarchy arguments is ridiculous. It really is.
Yeah, there's a really good saying. It's called "do for self." That means do for you. Black people, we don't have to be in step like Ursula and Priscilla all the damn time. We could just take care of ourselves. I didn't wake up today and go, "Oh, I'm gonna take care of black people." And there was a time I used to do that. And my sister Terry cost me everything I had: mental health, security, everything. Trying to lead with, "Oh, I'm gonna go out today and take care of the race." Cost me everything I had. Now I'm taking care of myself. So I don't wake up and go, "Oh, I'm a black man. I'm an American." I go, "I'm a man that needs to go out, make some money, put some money away, make sure my family is safe for the future." That's it. And I guarantee you, if you start functioning that way, you will get more done. All this other stuff, like blacks, like this and that, and black people, man, reparations. Number one, we're never getting reparations. That is, you can just... We all fell for the hook, line, sinker, the Gavin Newsom, all that stuff they went through. Black people, that was the rug, fool.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, the reparations thing. By the way, I looked it up to say what happened, because that report was supposed to come out in June. The report is out, and they have given the numbers and what should be done, whatever the deal is. They say in California alone, starting, black people should get a down payment. FBA black people should get a down payment of $77,000 starting. That's just starting, but they said it's the number is there, but I know it's $77,000 starting that we should get. Yet Gavin Newsom has done nothing.
That number is more reasonable from a fiscal responsibility. The state actually going to dig in their pocket. That number makes more sense. And here's something that I don't hear us talk about a lot, and I'll bring it up here. Black people, we were slaves. And that was so long ago, and I'm not blowing it off, but at what point do we give ourselves permission to let it go and say we're going to progress from here? Because I don't think our ancestors in the 1920s and 30s spent as much time on slavery as we do talking about right now. And they were feeling slavery. Their great grandparents, they were slaves. You know what I'm saying? You were born in 1800. You were born in 1900. You knew a slave. You know what I'm saying? We don't know slaves. I don't know anyone that's ever been a slave. I don't know anybody that's ever met a slave.
Oh, I would say this. We never going to let slavery go.
Not go, but put it behind us.
We never going to do that either.
But why?
Wait. I'm the only one that sit up here and don't say a word. Y'all talk. When I want to say something, it becomes a half-baked idea because I can't get what I'm saying out.
Go for it.
We're never going to let go of slavery because slavery ain't never let go of us. Okay. Now we may not be bending over picking cotton, We're also never going to put it behind us because it's never been behind us. We may not be picking cotton, but we are in slavery and a lot of other things, and some of it, has something to do with our own, mental slavery, whatever. We can, go there. But I think we need to have a conversation about both because that's what they do in the nation. Say, do for self, Marcus Garvey, up your mighty nation, accomplish what you will. But even the Nation of Islam have asking for, money, land, freeing our people that's, in these prisons and a whole bunch of other things. And so we can do both. But yeah, you guarantee you, if you ask that to the Jewish community or tell them, why don't y'all just let it go? They run your black ass out of here. You know what I'm saying? Wait.
The Jewish people have the money.
But wait. Yeah, they got the money, but that still does not mean because we don't, and we got the money too. Let's keep it a buck. We got the money too. We just misappropriate our money. We have enough money to make up the 10th largest, wealthiest country in the world, but we give away most of it at 97%. So it's a behavioral issue in addition to not having the businesses and things to sustain, making that dollar circulate. So when we talk about forgetting about slavery or putting it behind us, no other community. Can I give you another case in point? Daddy and I, if y'all don't know, Walter and I are siblings. Daddy and I were having this conversation this morning. We have this conversation a lot about what's going on with the migrants. Now, we know migrants are coming from all over the world, but predominantly, where are they coming from? They are coming from Mexico and other Latin countries. I would imagine predominantly, what they say, forget the Venezuela. But so they're coming from Latin countries. Now, y'all know the history of the United States, especially some states, right? It used to belong to the Mexican. Well, my father said at a conference years ago, I think it was like 1983, 1985, and he told me this years ago, that they said, what we are going to do, we are going to overpopulate the United States of America, and we're going to take back our country. So they were strategic in what they were doing. You know why they were strategic? Because they didn't forget. They didn't say, well, your country, your states were taken from you. Move on, let it go. Let the oppressor have your land. They was like, nah, we gonna get around whatever it is. And we're gonna strategize and take back what's ours. Look at what's going on right now, 2024. Almost every state, especially in California, what is the population made of? Mostly Hispanics. So if they would have adhered to, well, let it go, put it behind you, move on, they wouldn't be in the position that they're in. See, we spend a lot of time being mad at the migrants. I'm not ever going to be mad at the migrants. You know why I'm not going to be mad at the migrants? Because at least since God gave a cricket and say, let's organize on these fools, and the fools, in part being Black people, because unfortunately, we do vote for the Democrat to our own detriment. We're so busy helping everybody else, and they come in and get the help because the Democrats could not be in office without Black people, and the migrants could not be getting the help that they're getting without the Democrats. So when we talk about putting something behind us, think about the Jewish community. Did they put it behind them? No. The Hispanics, did they put it behind them? No. Or nobody else is put it. Even the Asians, when they were in these concentration camps over here, they got reparations. They didn't put it behind them, but it's always the Black person that's told to put it. Wait. Wait.
But what are they doing differently?
Wait. Because we keep having this conversation, and that's partially why we as Black people can't really get to where we got to go, because we want to start the issue to the side. I'm not saying we should dwell on it, but we need to come up with a plan so where we strategize and say, okay, Black man, Black woman in America, let's stop being divisive in every way, shape, and form. Come together, come up with a plan so we can get what we got coming to us. Because at the end of the day, I don't care what nobody say. Yeah, we got to do for self, but this government owes a debt and they need to pay it. Period.
Yeah, no one's saying they don't owe us the debt. No one's saying we weren't slaves. But what I'm saying is, at what point do we just get up and work? Like, how much time do we spend talking about slavery? I
So
get
can
it.
I answer your question? Let me answer your question.
Go ahead.
And because I hear what you're saying, trust me, we on the same page, but we can't negate the stuff in the middle. So because when we say when do we start working, we got to think about our ancestors that worked when they were on the plantation, that worked when they got off the plantation with all the Wall Streets, the Rosewoods, the Slocums, and all the other black townships that were built and destroyed. Our people worked, and even to this day, we work. But we also got to figure out how to minimize the effect of white supremacy, because there is institutional and systemic racism. It happens to everybody else. And I keep telling y'all about this book, a lot of books, but this one in particular, Hidden Secrets to Oriental Wealth. It's on YouTube. It was the last time I told y'all. Hidden Secrets to Oriental Wealth. And it's an Asian guy. You guys will figure out who it is. But in the very beginning of that audio book, he says, hey, black man, we got the same issues y'all got. We got the same enemy y'all got. We got the same oppressor. But you know why we are successful? Because we organize. We put our differences to the side. He says, we'll live in a house, 13, 20 people in a house, and we don't always like each other. But he said, you know what? We say, and I'm paraphrasing, shut your mouth. Go out there and work that job you hate. You go out there and work that job you hate, and then bring all that money back into the house, and then we wash, rinse, repeat. And so he's saying, listen to me, black people. If y'all want to be successful, this is what we are doing. We are organizing, but they don't forget what has been done to them. They say, okay, we're going to table it, organize, and then we come back as a force to where the oppressor has to acquiesce what we want, which is why they got a hate crime bill like that, which is why the Hispanics are coming over here in droves, and they're putting kids out of schools so that they can house them for the winter and all that other stuff, because now they are a cabal and they are forced to be reckoned with. That's why.
So what can we do about it then? What if you were president, or whatever, in power, what would you do about this issue so we could bury it and step on it and use it as a stepping stone? Because I think our ancestors would have wanted us to say, hey, we bled, we went through all this stuff for our future generations. At what point do you guys start stepping on our backs or shoulders or whatever you want to call it and move to the next level? And again, I want to say this, black people as a whole, as an average, we are in the middle class. The average black person is not poor. I live in California. I see black money all day, every day. Like my neighbors, I live in a gated community, which is somewhat pretty decent. A good majority of my neighbors are Africans, African people of African descent. My neighbor there, walking around. A lot of them are African Americans. These houses are $800,000-900,000, some of them. And if I leave these gates, I see them everywhere. I just moved to Irvine part-time. I see black people there, not as many. It's mainly Asians. But I see black people at the beaches. I see them when I go to LA, Beverly Hills. I see black people at the restaurants and the Mercedes and their Bentleys. And I see black money everywhere. I see more black people doing well than I see black people that aren't doing well. And the black people that you would say, oh, they're out here struggling. If you look at their wardrobe, if you go check out what they're rocking, they probably got some $300-400 shirt on. So I do think that we're doing a lot better than we will let ourselves believe. Like I said, go listen to Brother Thomas Sowell. He's not right on everything, but he's got some. Matter of fact, of all the people I've heard speak, I think he makes the most sense.
Yeah. So and I'm saying hello to everybody. I don't want y'all to think I forgot about you or anything. How you doing,
you guys? Real quick before we get into the Kanye West thing again, like black people grow up. When I say put slavery behind us, I don't mean forget about it. I mean let's go. Like Jesus Christ, at what point do we say let's go? Like, yeah, the Jews went through all their stuff and the Asians, but they have built. And you guys, and there was a minority of the Jews, by the way, that went through the camps. Most Jews did not go through that. So the Jewish race, like not every Jew went through a concentration camp. You know what I'm saying? And most Black people that are on this planet today, we couldn't even name an ancestor that went through slavery. And as a Black person in this country, especially as a Black woman, you have benefits and maybe had, I don't know if you have them anymore with everything that's going on right now. But as a Black woman business owner, you have minority grants on two sides. So I don't buy into this narrative that Black people can't do for self.
Well, we're not saying we can't. Nobody is saying that we cannot do for self. We know that has been a battle cry for a very long time. Like, listen, one thing, and I say this now, and how you doing, Heathen Report? And our realness only, how you doing? I don't say this to be mean or condescending of us. We do for self. Black people gonna be here. We are survivors. We're gonna be here long after everybody else is here. Okay. So we do know how to do for self, but we also got to talk about the other side of the conversation where whenever we do try to do for self, here comes the opposition with something, some way or form. So we have to organize. And it's always been said one of the greatest threats to America is Negro Unity. That's always been the case. They know once we organize, it's over for everybody else. We stop being distracted and focusing on helping everybody else and everybody else's issues. We focus on ourselves. So, we can do for self, and we've always tried to do for self. We just really need to focus and hone in on it, and like be laser focused. When you say, what do we do? Whenever somebody tries to sidestep and have conversation outside of being productive, nah, we don't want to hear that. Let's stay focused. Later for that.
Yeah, money is the key. In the Bible, some of y'all believe in that. Ephesians 10:19 says, ends with money controls all things. Black people, how we fix this problem is to stack our money. This is the money show, so I'm going to talk about money. Stack your money. You don't get the right to complain about the flight of Black people if you won't save a damn dime for your future. I was at an auto auction today. I buy these cars, and it's me, and there's a bunch of brothers. And talking about young brothers out here chasing this money, 24, 20. Yeah, I have a group of brothers. We will meet in the middle and just kind of chop it up. It's funny how races still like congregate even in situations like that. These brothers are young brothers, no school, no college. They out there getting money. I'm watching these young brothers get money, pants hanging down, still got the hip hop vibe, but these cats are out here getting money. Not once do we talk about this, the man being against us. I just see these young brothers getting money. And I'm like, what if we could take a video camera and put on these brothers, because I'm with them, and just watch how these brothers function and get this money? I think that would be more productive than the narrative of the Democrats. Oh, Black people, you need us. You can't do it without us. And the minute somebody says, oh, you can do it, here comes somebody saying, no, you can't. That I will never buy into that. And Black people, we living in America are the strongest Blacks on the planet. What if we realized that and said, you know what? Since we are the strongest, most wealthiest Blacks in the world, why don't we use some of that power and congregate? And we don't need a Democratic caucus to tell us to congregate. We can do that on our own. I go to these auto auctions. You see the brothers, they get together. Yo, what's up? I know every single brother in that auction because we say what's up to each other. Hey, man, what's up? How you doing? In case the white man act a fool, I know where y'all at. No. So we could do that. I don't hear enough people talking about that. We get together. We can congregate without having some political agenda. We can just get together as Black people.
No, absolutely. And that's, I think, the premise of doing for self. We don't need permission from anybody to do that. We can just get together. But I think the other problem that we have too is we think that we need to go out there and save the world, right? I got to go out there and save everybody. Just save the people in your house first, right? Get everybody else in your house on the same page. Hey, we're saving money. It's Black first. Let's shop Black. Like you start having those conversations with the people that are near and dear to you, and everybody does that, then it'll take care of itself. Like in the Asian community, for example, They don't have to say, hey, when you go out there and spend some money today, make sure it's with another Asian. They do that without even thinking about it. But with us, it's like, did you shop black today? Oh, thanks for reminding me. That, with them, it's just what they do. And I know it's a little easier for them because they have more options, and we can too. But we have to really be laser focused into doing those things. But yeah, we're not forgetting about slavery. That's not something we ever gonna do. And I know you didn't, mean like forever. But we always got to have that in our mind. Because when we forget, then we get complacent. We get very complacent, and we buy into, well, it's over. It's not, that's
apathy sets in. Apathy sets
exactly. It's apathy, and then we start sympathizing with the oppressor. Well, it wasn't the people who did it to us. They ain't here no more.
And then we wait for a savior to save us because we believe that we can't save ourselves.
Exactly. So, and we know we can save ourselves. Hell, we save everybody else. We can save ourselves. And if the oppressor didn't think we could save ourselves, it wouldn't be such an effort to get us not to do it, right? Like, especially in these internet streets, there's so much division. Like, even I'll say the last 5 years or so, we didn't hear as much divisiveness going on between Black men and women as we do now. I mean, it's kind of been a thing, but it wasn't a thing. Like it is now. It's like, this has got to be by design. I was having a conversation with my daughter today. I said, other people have issues with their spouses in other races, but it's only with us where we talk about, girl, you'd be better off with a white man. Or you'd be better off with an Asian and a Mexican man. Because there's this guy who's, from the rainbow tribe, if you will. He's on TikTok and he's got a pretty good following. He's a Black guy. And he's like, girl, Black women, I just don't understand why you guys spend so much time on Black men. There's so many more options out there for you guys. The Black man is not going to treat you right. And I'm like, so he telling Black women not to be with Black men so he can be with them? Like, what's your angle, dude? You know what I mean? But we don't really hear other races talking like that. So the point that I'm making is, like, when that type of stuff starts to enter the chat, we need to say no later for that. We need to build. We need to strategize. We need to come up with things so that we can really win this time and cancel out the noise. You know what I mean? And like you said, Donovan, so we don't become apathetic, because there's a lot of Black people who are apathetic. You know who those people are? The people who continuously vote Democrat. You keep voting for nothing.
And can I ask you this question too?
Sure.
Because you brought up a good point. The sex war between Black men and women. Do you not believe, or would you agree that the Democratic Party is partly responsible for that by uplifting Black women over Black men within the party? Black girl magic, Black judges, Black female judges, Black women this, Black women that. Where in the Democratic Party, outside of Barack Obama, and that wasn't really good for Black people. I don't care what anybody says. That was not a Black Obama presidency was not good for Black people. If you look at it by the numbers, outside of that, to me, that is part of a problem within our community when they keep putting Black men and Black women against us. Do you see how this party uses every trick in the book, but yet they still come to us expecting us to vote for them? Don't get me wrong. Black women are going to vote a certain way. Black men are going to vote us, and Black men are right behind them. But like I've been telling people on my podcast and stuff, especially as Black men, lead, eventually the woman will follow. Lead and the woman will follow. So if we are leaving the Democratic Party and we are going to lead to an independent thing, we need to continue to do that, fellas. But I actually see that the Democratic Party is actually doing these things to create confusion within our community. I mean, would you agree with that that's a small part of the problem?
Yeah, it definitely is. I think it's actually a large part of the problem, but it didn't just start, let's say, even within the last 60 years. It started since slavery. The Black woman has always been put over the Black man. And when I say the Black man, she's been put in charge it kind of like she's the one with all the smarts and control, right? I read a book and it talked about how it was all done by design, and it continued. And he says, think about something like old Hollywood when they would have black actors and actresses in roles. A lot of times they were playing maids and mammies and butlers and stuff like that. And he says, even look how they had the maid, the black woman, talk to the black man. It was, oh, shut up, you old fool, you nincompoop. You don't know what you talking about. Oh, Charlie wouldn't, they even then they had her browbeating the black man. And so it's just been a continuation and obviously manifesting in different forms. And so when you talk about something like the Democratic Party, who within the last, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, at least the last 2 or 3 election cycles, have come up with this term, the black woman being the backbone of the Democratic Party. But instead of people really just saying, okay, let me dissect that for a minute and say, well, the black man voted right behind the black woman, only to the tune of a couple of 4, 6% at best. There was a gap between how the black woman voted and the black man. So the black man helped too, but they told the black woman voter, oh, y'all the backbone of the Democratic Party. And that's very divided language. And it's just really a moral play on, let's keep black people disjointed so that they don't unify. The only time they really unify is when they come together for us. Case in point, they've been on the bumper of black men since the last, election cycle. Talking about y'all are unduly influenced. The Republicans have got next to y'all. Y'all are being what was the word?
Brainwashed and
but it brainwashed, but sort of like y'all. The word is coming to me is kidnapped, but it's not coerced. Y'all being coerced away from the Democratic Party.
But the Democratic Party is going to give us holes to the polls and all this other stuff to bring us back.
Right. So, y'all good to them as long as y'all are in lockstep. But since y'all are moving away from it and saying, well, y'all have ignored us. Y'all put the black woman above as the backbone. And we've seen, a lot of sisters in the media telling black men, shut up, be quiet. You don't know what you're talking about, and only speak when you're spoken to. The same old thing from the plantation. So that's what I said. For us as black people, we need to stop falling for the talking points like that and just really stop and say, wait a minute, what does that even mean? That the black woman is the backbone of the Democratic Party? Because when you're the backbone, that means you're the strength, right? So if the black woman can be the backbone and the strength of the Democratic Party, why can't she be that for black people? Why aren't the Democratic Party saying that, hey, black woman, since you've been so good to us, why don't you go be good to your black people? And since black women are being called the backbone, why is she not getting anything for her people? I did a story. It's not out yet on the African Diaspora News channel. I think it's really good. Y'all check it out probably next week sometime. But she, as the backbone of the Democratic Party, should be asking for something. Hey,
wait, you mean like the Sheila Jackson Lees and the Karen Basses and all these people?
Them, and if they don't, then the black voter, because they can't get in office without black people either, should say, you're not going to get our vote. We know this for a fact. White people, when they send people to Washington or whatever, they don't let them fools sit up in there, for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, terms, not doing nothing for them. They're like, okay, Becky, Billy, you went there and you didn't do what you're supposed to do. You're out of here. But us, well, give them a chance. They just got in office, because they black. They don't really let them do much of anything because, they black. We got to give them a chance. But white people like, you got to go. We getting somebody else in there until we get it right.
Right, January 6th. You see what kind of crap we're on? That's what the white people were saying to their representatives. And these white guys, look at how they're talking. These guys are in fear. They are in fear to talk against what's right. They got the message. And then isn't it the Democratic Party's policy that set up the welfare system as we know it? Why is, and I put this in the chat, why is the black family penalized because the father is now removed from the home? Isn't that a Democratic policy that was written specifically in regards to target black people?
I mean, yeah, you know, and if you think about and hi, Pastor Laura, how you doing? He says we will get reparations, never give up on that. Let's stay focused on that. I'm so tired of Hollywood putting our black men with these white women. They have done a great job separating us. Yeah. Shout out to Jonathan Majors, right? Uh, and what was your question? You asked me about oh,
Yeah, well, what I was saying about the Democratic policies that the Democrats themselves make in 1968, and the Civil Rights Movement was basically on its way out. We're going to the new phase of everything. Look at these policies that the Democratic Party promotes. The welfare system itself. I believe we need a social safety net. But why is it, specifically in the Black community, that a policy that is supposed to help us, we are penalized by removing the father out of the home?
So it's simple. You know, I'm not good at math. Brother Samuel said I'm good at mental math. If you make a people or something independent, then they don't need you anymore, right? So let's say with the Democratic Party, let's say they are, you know, for the social services and, you know, giving you just a little bit to get by, right? If they say, hey, Black people, y'all don't need us. Here, we're going to give you it's money or whatever. Y'all go make a good go of it. Let's, you know, help you build your community and businesses and everything you need to be self-functioning. Then what's in it for them? Because no other group votes for the Democrats like we do. They don't count or depend, they being Democrats, they don't depend on any other group because the other groups are like, well, we'll vote because we do believe in having a voice. But if we vote or we don't vote, it's not really going to make us a big difference because we are well functioning enough to not need the help of, you know, a Republican or a Democrat. But the Democrats know as long as they keep us on the ivy of, you know, on a precipice of doing well and not doing well, and then we finally do well, then we're like, we don't need y'all, which is the ultimate goal of doing for self. So they say they want to, you know, with the infrastructural bill, well, we're doing this for that for the Black community, and yeah, they don't really want Black people self-sufficient because then we can't help you. So, you know, removing the Black man out the home, that's part of it as well. You know, for those people who are very, oh, Joe Biden, we need Joe Biden in office, vote blue no matter who. Most of the Democrats, and especially ones that are still in office and that were there in the 90s, even Black ones, they voted for those crime bills. They voted for all those things. So that helped take the Black man, you know, out the home as well. But nobody wants to have that conversation.
Right. Can I just say this? Because we're talking about the Democratic Party, and this is how naive we are, you people. I'm going to stick my arm out. I'm not going to ask no questions. I mean, you know what I mean? It was sad to see this Black woman doing that. I mean, are you that ignorant that you're going to allow somebody to stick something into your body without questioning it? And that's how they feel about us when it comes to the voting cycles. We are not to question who they tell us are our leaders or servants, like it's supposed to be.
Yeah, and that's what they do. They get, you know, somebody before us, you know, whether it's like that lady. I know Donovan always referenced that lady. She was, you know, when the pandemic happened and they were trying to get everybody to get the solution, that the infusion is what she called it. They were trying to get everybody to get the infusion. She stood up there. There was a bunch of white men behind her. And, you know, so, you know, some old, you know, spiritual Negro sister and stood up there. I'm just going to stick my arm out. I'm not going to ask no questions. I'm not going to ask what's in the infusion. I'm just going to take the infusion. It's like, is you already on some other infusion? Like, but they know having her up there is going to influence somebody to just do it. Just do it.
But that to me symbolized Black people and the way we vote in these elections. We don't ask any questions. We don't vet our candidates. We don't do anything. Most people across the nation had no idea of Kamala Harris's record, of all the Black people she locked up here in California. Oh, ski wee girl. Oh yeah, she's a sororo. Yo, y'all come out and vote for Dina. Just all of this crap. And to me, that was the perfect symbolism of how Black people are not strategic in how we vote. If our vote wasn't valuable, why are they doing all of this to get it? Okay, so if I had something where people are acting like that, I'm going to leverage to give me the best contract I can get. Why is it that we do not ask for nothing for our votes? This is what we're trying, and I'm glad now with our co-hosts and everybody, people are waking up and seeing, yeah, wait a minute, I've been voting and, things are getting worse. But the question is it too late at this point to save ourselves? I don't think it is, but to me, the solution is this: Black man, Black woman, regardless of what our issues are with each other, we have to come together and let's get ready to rumble after we smite our enemy. Okay? Until then, as long as we're fighting each other, we're doing all the work for our enemies.
I totally agree with you. Aaron, how are you today? He says, how much of an impact would happen if we sat out the election and just focus on our vote locally? I think that would have a huge impact, because it really is the state and local elections that matter the most. That has the biggest impact on us. You think about something locally, you shoot, your city council have an even bigger impact on you, because they affect you, where you live, everywhere, shape and form. But for whatever reason, I don't even think it's just us as Black people. I think it's people in general. Most local and state elections have a way lower turnout than a federal election, right? Everybody's all ramped up on the federal election. We got to get out there. But then, during a state or local election, people are like, well, may not do it. I don't know. But then you get
They don't even know who their alderman or their council person is. They just see a name, and it's the name you know.
And then you get a judge, on the bench, or a sheriff that's adverse to Black people or whatever, because a lot of those positions are voted on as well. But people don't think about that. You got a very racist sheriff that's running, and you don't show up to have a voice in that. Or a DA, for example. Yeah, I know there in California, where I'm from, Riverside County, them DAs, man, they believe in, striking Black people out. But how many Black people show up or get knowledgeable about the DA? Okay, let's look at their track record. Let's see what they're about. Are they fair? This, that, and the other. So we don't show up to vote them in or out. Then God forbid you or your people got to be, challenged by a racist DA. And it's like, well, you had a chance to make sure that they weren't on, I had that position, but we didn't show up. So you're right, Aaron. You're absolutely right. M, how you doing? It says, I find that when I pass on information, people get mad at me. Well, passing on information, people take it, it's a numbers game. Some people are going to take it. Some people are not. When I was in sales, they say if you talk to 10 people, 7 will listen. No, you call 10 people, you'll probably, Walter, and you probably know better than me, 7 appointments. I know 7 will answer, 3 appointments, and then 1 will buy or something like that. So it's a numbers game. So you just got to keep talking. When I set out to do this, I was like, if one person show up here, when I was doing this on Facebook, one person show up, then I have a conversation with them, right? But sometimes we get overwhelmed with, I got to talk to everybody. Everybody's got to listen to me. And if they don't, then we get a little bit discouraged. So just aim for one. Brogu, how are you doing today? Says no reparations, no anti-Black hate crime bill, no police reform, no getting rid of qualified immunity, no vote. These Democrats think that we're all going to come running and voting for them. No chance. Yeah, I think they're starting to understand that. That's probably not going to happen the way it used to, right?
Did you guys see about 6 months ago when they asked Jimbo Clyburn, when they're showing him the poll numbers were going down, he was like, I have no worry that the Black people will show up for Joe Biden, the Democratic Party, the same democracy. I'm not even worried about that. I have no worry whatsoever. Now, just last week, he's talking about, I'm concerned. I'm concerned.
Right. But he got cavalier, though. Oh, they going to show up. Don't worry about it. All they really want is a fish fry. They don't care about nothing else. A fish fry. Oh, I don't know what happened to Walter. A fish fry, or some other, just something that's symbolism. They'll be all right, because they love that. But now he's starting to get concerned, like, okay, my magical Negro powers are wearing off, and they're not listening to me anymore. And that's, of course, James Clyburn. A Golf. Oh my gosh, your name. He says the lowest Black unemployment in history is right now. Uh, so that's kind of a play on words and play on numbers. Is it really the lowest in history? And what is that number exactly? And let me also ask you this. Is it, so when we talk about unemployment, we're all supposed to be equal. Why is there a Black unemployment that's worse than the regular unemployment number? So when we say, oh, it's the lowest in history, what does that mean exactly? See what I'm saying? That's the kind of stuff, and I'm not saying it's about you, A Golf Twitler. But when they say stuff like that to us, they know we'll run away with it. Oh, unemployment is the lowest in history. But what does that mean? Are Black people still struggling? Is there still inequality on jobs? Why is there a Black unemployment versus everybody else's unemployment?
And you guys do realize the most insignificant job you can get and you're paying taxes on it, whatever the deal is, they count that as full-time employment, even if it's a part-time job. They count that as full-time. See, so what are we talking? It's a accounting trick. It's kind of like when they say manufacturing jobs. Remember when they did all those fast food restaurant jobs and said, oh no, we just created 30,000 manufacturing jobs. They were saying that fast food was manufacturing because you're making burgers. You see what I'm saying? It all depends on how they want to spin it.
Right, but they know most people aren't. They're not going to dive deeper. Oh, unemployment is low and this, that, and the other. But like you said, a part-time Taco Bell job that got added, they count that. But are they talking about sustainable jobs to where you could go to work, come back, pay all your bills, and have some sort of a lifestyle? They ain't talking about those type of jobs. They talking about the low, the entry level, low paying jobs.
Amazon, the gig, the Amazon type stuff where, and then you hear the horror stories of the Amazon employee. People leave there, they don't want to go back.
I used to work for Amazon. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. Shoot, in 2015, I worked for Amazon for a month and a half. I was like, yeah, I don't think so. Let me get my belief system back in check. It was one of the hardest jobs I ever worked. Not because what you were doing was hard. It's just if you fall below 100%, you gone. And they don't care about you. You are worth less than the product there. But to your point, they count that as a job. And they don't talk about people dropping like flies up in the air, and I might like literally like they don't talk about that.
And then let's talk about this. When everything was kind of going bad in the early 90s. Now I'm a military person, whatever. Even if you were employed as a reservist or a National Guardsman, you were considered employed. You're considered employed. There's almost, I think, 4 million reservists and guardsmen. You're considered employed, even though you're not even supposed to count your military service for anything like that. They've brought it in the numbers to make themselves look good. So sad.
Yeah, but again, we need to stop and say, okay, all right, it's at a record low, but what does that mean? When these politicians get up in the churches or wherever they at, it's better for Black people. Really, how? How is it better for Black people? I'm a Californian, but I can't take my Californian self. I can, but it's going to be a struggle. I know most Black people in California, they ain't doing so well. So how is the historical low unemployment beneficial to them? How does that help?
Right, you got a job, but you can't afford health care. A part-time job doesn't give you medical and dental benefits.
Enlightened boy, I need to stop and take a pause on your comment. Because Lord have mercy. The lowest Black unemployment in history was during slavery. We had full employment. You ain't lying. Right. It was zero. But yeah, so that, that's kind of what they do, and I know Biden and them running all over the country. Oh, the unemployment is low, historically low for Black people. And, but he don't never talk about getting rid of those crime bills, huh? That he put in place. He don't never talk about that kind of stuff. Then you got Black people talking about, well, he said he was sorry. No, he didn't.
Well, let's forget the crime bill. Let's forget the sorry. A lot of states have legalized marijuana. Why are Why hasn't he released people that are in jail for marijuana convictions? And pushing the states to do the same thing.
He's impressing upon the states to do it, but
right. And expunging records. Why aren't we doing that? Wouldn't that help in regards to Black people be able to get decent jobs? I mean, damn, I've been locked up for 30 years for this weed conviction when I was 15. I'm coming out and I'm still being disparaged because I have now a criminal record for weed that is now legal. Come on.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So, and of course, he's trying to make a little bit movement on it now, but he ain't serious. He ain't serious.
Why do they always want to make these movements when it's close to the election? Why couldn't he have done that just like Obama? You had the House and the Senate. You had 2 years to do whatever you wanted to do. Filibuster proof. But you're going to wait until you lose the Senate and then it's election time. Then you want to, hey, the Republicans are obstructing. They're obstructing. Wait a minute. They weren't obstructing for 2 years. So what are you talking about? Nancy Pelosi never brought the reparations thing even to the floor for a discussion. Think about that. Maybe you want to know why? Maybe because there's a lot of racists in the Democratic Party that don't want to see Black people rise above where they're at today. Think about that.
Agolf, he says, who are claiming slavery taught good job skills? Well, we know that was Ron DeSantis and the Republicans in Florida. Of course, we know that is nonsensical, but I guess you don't want to talk about the slavery in the prisons that's busting at the seams with disproportionate amount of Black people. That's a form of slavery. It says that in the 13th Amendment. It shall abolish slavery except for, imprisonment, paraphrasing. So we mad at some nonsense that's coming up out of Ron DeSantis. And Ron DeSantis is probably one of my least favorite politicians ever. I mean, I don't like Ron DeSantis. But y'all always want to talk about the stuff that the Republicans are doing or saying, but y'all never give any conversation to what the Democrats are doing. Joe Biden has told y'all repeatedly that he is the author of every major and minor crime bill since 1986. I think 84 even at this point. But yet y'all don't never repeat that, but y'all repeat the stuff that the Republicans talk about all the time, but y'all never repeat the stuff that the Democrats have done to harm Black people. And I guess I'm just trying to figure out why. Why is it that y'all gloss over that, which would give credence to that they're different wings of the same bird? Neither party cares for Black people, but y'all want to hone in on the Republicans and the stuff that come out their mouth. And I'll argue with you tooth and nail. Trump, as much of a douchebag as he is, he still has not harmed Black people no way, shape, or form worse than what Biden has done. And you'll never, ever be able to prove that Trump has been harmful to Black people in the way that Biden has. So y'all get hung up on words, things that Trump said. And as I say, what he did to the Central Park 5 was horrendous. It did as far as the propaganda that he spewed. But Agolf, why don't y'all ever talk about the Democratic prosecutors that did what they did to the Central Park 5? All those prosecutors, they were the Democratic Party. They got money from the Democratic Party. They gave money to the Democratic Party. But that conversation never gets had. It always talks about Trump. And when Trump took that ad out in the newspaper, he was a Democrat. But now that when he was running for president as a Republican, now all of a sudden, y'all want to have a conversation about it, but glossing over the Democrats that actually have more power than Trump. Trump didn't have no power. He just took out a newspaper article that was horrible. But the people with all the power is the one that sent those innocent kids to prison for something they didn't do. And those people were Democrats. But nobody never want to talk about that. And I'm just wondering why. Just asking. Juggernaut, how you doing? I hope all is well. Black America says, it's not that many Black Americans in prison. That's why I wanted you guys to do a show on it. It's not that many Black people in prison. And I don't know how you come up to that conclusion. It's just not true, Black America. It's not true. Now, of course, when we talk about anything, we want to talk about disproportionately because we are a smaller percentage of population, but there are disproportionately more Black people in prison than anybody else. It's just true. It's a fact. And I'm not going to keep going back and forth with you. That is not, I know you spent some time in prison, but I don't think you need to spend time in prison to know how to read.
Well, they say basically this. If you're not in prison, if a black man is not physically in prison, he's either on probation or he has a record that's being held against him, which is just as bad. So
let me say, look up FRS, GMRS, and NOO.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we're supposed to be having some bad weather. Yeah, we're gonna figure out how to work that. Some bad weather coming up real soon. It's gonna be like 19-degree day here next week. And of course, y'all know the power grid here ain't worth a hill of beans. So it's, oh my God. Let me get on mine and see how much points I have on Spirit so I can fly up out of here.
Right. Wait. Are you gonna do your Ted Cruz?
Me and Ted Cruz gonna be arm in arm. We're gonna meet Ted Cruz, Heidi, and the girls. We're gonna be in Cancun, with a fruity drink somewhere on the beach until this storm rides over.
At least leave enough food for the dog and the cats.
I ain't got no dogs and cats.
For him. Make sure he left the dog last time, which, by the way, was a federal crime when you abused the dog. Somebody wanted to charge him.
Right. Shiloh, how you doing? Said it's the MS plus black man getting off and buried elite in Mississippi. Is that buried? That's on my mind. Aside from these topics as well, best thing we can do is help each other, help find work, stay in work, and get a trade. I totally agree with you. We talked about that yesterday, and I actually covered it on the African Diaspora News channel. If y'all want to go check that out, about the 215 bodies. Some people are saying it's more, but at the time I did the story, it was 215 bodies that they found, and they needed to. They're trying to get an investigation going as to why that happened. So, let's see here. I don't know what happened to Walter. Walter be busy doing a whole bunch of other stuff. We probably got on his nerves. I know him. He was probably like, man, forget them. Now he probably has something to do. All right, let me see. Let me skip down. I haven't seen everybody's comments. Shirley, how you doing? Says Biden needs to go. This man isn't good for our people. He is not. MC Fact, how you doing? He says Democrats co-signed on slavery. Let's see. Facts Not Feelings, how you doing? What you been up to? Says there's way too much blacks in prison, way too many blacks in prison. But Black America gonna tell us it's not. And High Q, we say Black communities must liberate themselves from political slavery. Absolutely. And Mike says, why not answer that Wednesday? There you go, Dimitri. I think you meant. And let's see. Black America says, do a show on and get numbers and see for yourself. All right. Olivia, how you doing? Long time no see. Happy 2024 to you as well. Sean, he says, the Democrat politicians are never going to love Trump. Laugh out loud. He beat their tripping stud Hillary Clinton. Timothy, how you doing? Long time no see. Thank you so much for the donation. He says, if Trump loses, what do you think will happen? If Biden wins, the same. Do you think that the election could take our focus off World War III as a distraction? I don't know. Donovan, you probably be better to answer that than me.
Yeah, if Trump wins, nothing's going to happen because the Democratic Party has no backbone. These parties work together. What's happening to Donald Trump is the fact that he's from the oligarch class. And the fact that he gave stimmy checks to everybody and was giving black people the First Step Act and things like that. Trump was like, HBCUs, why do you keep coming to me? Here's $10 billion. Stop coming to me, whatever the deal is. He went against the oligarch class, and they're making an example of him because, again, he's a lifelong Democrat. It doesn't matter if they're Democrat or Republican. It's called the ruling party. It doesn't matter. This is why they play the waiting game in regards to policy. Biden did not have to go to Congress to do the student loan forgiveness. He could have done it by executive pen, but he did that because he knew it was going to take time to get through Congress, then to go to the Supreme Court. If you see what Donald Trump is doing right now in his court cases, what is he doing? Delaying tactics. Delay. He has the resources to do that. They're making an example out of him so that anybody else that comes up. Now, if the Republicans win, nothing's going to happen because the Democrats have no backbone. That's why every time when the Republicans are in power, they just steamroll the Democrats. They don't care what the Democrats have to say. They have their agenda and they follow it to the ladder. If the Democrats win, we as a black people, we're in trouble Nobody else has to worry because I said everybody else is getting resources but us. 4 more years of Democratic rule, Black people are finished. We are finished in this country. It's no longer a a game. It's no longer hyperbole. It's real. We are a permanent underclass. We're going to have nothing. World War III. We've been going through World War III for 20 years now, since 9/11. There's always going to be the mercenary class, which is where I come from, where they're going to use the military. War is big business. That is the only thing they have left in the United States to pay back these loans that we owe to China. It doesn't make sense that we are getting all this money from China just to give to Israel and all these Ukraine and stuff like that, going up with the national debt. So that's the game. Nothing's going to happen. Nobody's world is going to change but ours when we see that we will be a permanent underclass, and that is it. It is a wrap at that point.
Negro, you say if our wish were granted, who would you want as president? You know what's so crazy? I haven't even gotten that far even to thinking about who would be the good president or any of that kind of stuff. I would just really say anybody who is also with the agenda of helping Black people too. I know no one's going to be able to get in office and just help Black people, but they should help Black people too, like they help everybody else. So whoever wants to do that, then that's who I would be for. But until then, yeah, we need to learn how to do for self. Let's see here. Terry Jones, how you doing? Let's see. Hallelujah. Shikania. I know I said that wrong, but how you doing? And Juggernaut, he says, does everybody feel my energy when I go off on how a Black First Church let them folks pimp that Gaza narrative in their church, or is it just me? You know what? I saw that. I didn't even think twice about it. It did not bother me, only because I'm trying to really be careful with this. How does that church benefit us as Black people? That's the same church. Well, let me ask you this. I'm going to ask this question better. So are we more mad that those people went in there, and called Joe Biden to the carpet for what's going on in the Middle East? Or should we be more mad at the relatives of the 9 people that were gunned down by Dylan Roof, who said they forgive him? And in fact, they wish that he didn't have to suffer the death penalty. Why are we not giving that a conversation? So then when we think about the church, when we think about what they did, I mean, what they said to Biden is neither here or there with me, but I'm more concerned with our people that thinks it's okay to forgive a white supremacist who, as far as Concept, wasn't even asking for forgiveness, but they want to forgive him. You know what I mean? So I think that's probably a better question, but I get what you're saying. Brother Samuel, how you doing? Says, greetings, D&D. Just getting back on and wondering what was the best argument to your original question concerning if Mr. Trump is reelected. Nobody's really answered that because the question was, how did Black people suffer under Trump? Like, what happened to Black people that was adverse under Trump that did not happen with any other president, whether it was Republican or Democrat? What did Trump specifically do? Because there was never this much emphasis on any other Republican president. I mean, we heard Kanye during Katrina say, Bush hates Black people. He don't like Black people, whatever he said. But, that was kind of as far as it went with that rhetoric. And Bro Gui says, Biden gave that speech in South Carolina in the church where those 9, I should have read your comment, those 9 people were killed and those old Black folks were just eating it up. Can you wake up and smell the coffee, people? And don't forget, Dylan Roof did that during the tail end of Obama's administration. A Black president, he did that. But what I understand, James Clyburn blamed Trump, who wasn't even in office yet. That happened in 2015, and Trump had just decided to run for president. But the other day, James Clyburn blamed that on Trump when Obama was the president. Make that make sense. Why didn't anybody jump up and say, you are a bald-faced lie? Why did nobody do that? So Michelle, he says, in my humble opinion, I think the migrants are here to expose the hypocrisy of the United States Corporation for America and be the spectators for what is to be its downfall. I mean, anything's possible, right? Mama Deb, how you doing? And let's see here. And you say you are voting for Trump. There's a lot of people say they're gonna vote for Trump. Seth, how you doing? Says this dude almost made me turn and show off talking about putting slavery and reparations behind us is always one of us. Yeah, sometimes people say things. I don't know if he necessarily meant like we should forget about it, but it's really just getting some more information and being a little bit more careful about the things we say, because as I said, nobody else has to forget about or put the horrors that happened to them behind them. And yeah, while everybody else has experienced horrors, nobody has experienced the horrors that Black people have experienced and are still experiencing. So it's not even an issue of we can't forget, right? We don't get to forget. I mean, it was 4 years ago almost where a Black man had a cop kneel on his neck until he died in broad daylight on video, and the whole world saw it. So how can you forget? How do you put that something like that behind you? Right now we're still having a conversation about 215 people buried behind a jail and a pauper cemetery that are predominantly Black, because Jackson, Mississippi is predominantly Black. So how can we put that kind of stuff behind us? Olivia says, remember, it's the Democrats that gave us an integration. The government is not concerned about melanated people or Trump. What the government is concerned about is Trump's following. Yeah. Well, but let me ask y'all this. Is Trump's following any different than any other country? Let's say like France. What was it? Is it Ecuador? Where they just ran up into the news stations and all of that? Is Trump's following any differently than those people?
Right, and then I'm going to have to disagree for the simple fact that, do you realize more than half of the federal government are Trump supporters? A good portion of your military are Trump supporters. I mean, that's the reality. Like I said, I know a lot of people that don't really understand. I'm not saying you don't understand. You have your opinion. I have my opinion, but you got to see it for what it really is. The government is. A good portion of them support Trump, or a lot of this stuff wouldn't be going on. Come on. So they're not afraid of a Trump presidency. They're just not.
Right. We are Judah. How you doing? It says, I agree. Local voting only. You can actually communicate with local reps. Clearly, the federal politicians can't hear and don't care. No, and they really don't.
And the reason they don't is because we don't hold them accountable. That's why. Who gonna check me, boo? Who gonna check me?
Yep. And they know you're gonna show back up even when it's time to for re-election. We're gonna show right back up. Michelle says, great live, and thanks for the commentary and allowing your platform to be interactive. Oh, always. It's got to be interactive.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna ask a lot of you people, because Demetra knows in my city how many recalls we did when all the corruption was going on. This city was on fire. How many recalls have you guys done of politicians in your town? Locally. Gotta think about it. If you don't hold them accountable, they don't care what you have to say.
Right. And they know we're not going to do it, Well, it's either them or get somebody else in office, it's better to have somebody Black in office. And it's like, is it really? Is it really better to have somebody Black in office that's not going to act Black, that's not going to act on behalf of Black people? Is it really better? I mean, how's that worked out for us? How's the Maxine Waters working out? Sheila Jackson Lee.
Karen Bass.
Yeah.
I mean, she's the mayor of LA and isn't even addressing the Black homeless issue in LA. But you're a Black mayor. But we forgot she was married to a Latino man. Oh.
Yeah, so and William says, I think some people are playing Hollywood squares with the vote Trump to block illegal immigration.
Do you guys want to know what's going to happen if Trump gets back in office with illegal immigration? There's going to be a lot of self-deportation. As you see all these immigrants are coming in, you're going to see a lot of them going back over on their own.
But the other thing too is, with him wanting to, do the wall and all that other stuff, who does that really help? That helps us.
And then I have a question, since you brought up the wall. Why is it, Demetra, it was so racist for Trump to build the wall and do all this, and it's got to stop, and that's so racist, and we got to let everybody over here, right? Isn't Joe Biden building the wall?
He is now. He's like, oh, okay.
Why isn't that racist?
It's because it's an eye the beholder. It depends on who's doing it, Timothy, thank you once again. Love and appreciate you for that. He said, do you know if anyone asked Trump for an anti-Black protection bill and qualified immunity? And okay, I'm open to that invitation. As far as I know, Trump is not for qualified immunity. And I have not heard him say anything about an anti-Black protection bill.
But here's the thing with Trump, though. If you go to him, he'll listen. He'll listen. Look at all those Black pastors that went to him to make sure they got a bailout. Nobody talks about those pastors that met with him, and when everybody was getting the checks and the PPP loans, they made sure that they got a bailout as pastors. Nobody talks about that. These were Black pastors. And I know there were white pastors too, but they went to him, that he met with them, said, sure, give him the money. Oh, HBC, you need $10 billion, give it to him. Stop coming to me for that. Here's $10 billion. Donald Trump does not care, because guess what? We're the taxpayer. We're the ones paying for it. It ain't coming out of it ain't coming out of the Trump organization. So he could care. Oh, you want that? Go ahead and have it. You can have it. And this is why what I believe the Democrats want to stop Donald Trump, because he is going to give us some of the things that we need to survive. That is why they want to stop him.
And Damien say, question, who will Trump pick for VP? Well, it ain't going to be Pence, because Pence actually was running against him, till a couple of months ago or so. And, he was like, well, I don't agree with Trump after all, especially when they ran up into the Capitol looking for him,
And we know it's not Chris Christie. He dropped out today. And remember when Trump first got in and Chris Christie looked like a hostage? His eyes were just like, oh my God, I can't believe this guy won.
Right. Hello, Vince. That's funny, because I was having this conversation with my daughter today, because Vivek Ramaswamy and Nikki Haley, they're on the campaign trail, if you will, but they won't just come out against Trump. It's like, well, they're not going to do that, because when, it's not if, Trump becomes the nominee for the Republican Party, one of them might want to be the vice president. And one thing about Trump is he don't forget. He ain't gonna do like Biden and Kamala. Oh, I just love you, Joe. After she got through accusing him of being racist, with the busing and all that other stuff. So Trump is gonna hold the vengeance. So they don't really want to just come out and say, well, Trump is a horrible guy. He needs to be stopped at all costs. So I think it'll be very interesting as to who he decides to be his VP.
Do you guys really want to know what's the best thing that's going to come out of the Trump presidency? Even if you're against Donald Trump, then Demetria will tell you right now, it will make you get off your asses and do for self, because you did it last time during a Trump administration. There were more businesses created under Donald Trump's administration within the Black community than any time in the United States, because we are resilient people. We know when push comes to shove, I'm so afraid of this man, I'm going to have to go get it out of the mud. I'm going to create my own business. I'm going to go do this, because you see that this man ain't going to help you. But we see that this man ain't helping us after 3 years, and we're sitting here still waiting. What are we waiting for? That sounds like a scary movie. What are you waiting
for? Right. Bro, you say Trump will probably pick DeSantis. I don't think he will. They really don't get along at all.
I think he's going to probably pick a woman, and it's going to be the Democratic chairman or the Republican chairman party. She's one of them.
Ronna Daniel.
Yeah, whatever her name is, and these real hard sycophants. He's going to pick people that are just going to blindly do what he tells them.
Exactly, Vince. He ain't gonna forget. He gonna be like, nah, I remember when you was talking greasy and spicy. He don't forget.
And he's gonna weaponize. Well, the Justice Department's already weaponized. He's just gonna go ahead and just have them do everything they. Please dismiss all my cases. That's gonna be number one. Dismiss all my cases, and let's go after these people who did what they did.
Timothy, thank you once again. He says, Donovan, be quiet. Demetra, what can I cook for you?
Turkey leg.
No. You know what? Surprise me. I'm open. I'm open. Surprise me.
But don't worry, everybody. If Biden doesn't make it, good old Kamala is going to come in and challenge. Because it'll be open. Okay, after Trump, if Trump wins this term, he can't run anymore. That's it. He only gets 2 terms. That's it. He's done. So Kamala is going to be set up to run. You guys actually think the Democrats even give a damn for the next 8 years who's going to be president, who's not, that's going to be their excuse to rebuild their party. Oh, look, you guys are getting nothing, and this is happening, and this is that. This is how it is. White supremacy on both sides. It's a game. It's a shell game.
American Black. You say Ann Coulter would be a great vice president. She is very vocal about America, also Black Americans. She's also thin, blue-eyed, blonde hair. She could do it. You know, Ann Coulter, she's interesting because, you know, when she kind of first came on scene, obviously years ago, she was very, she's still a staunch Republican. Now, years ago, I was a Democrat as well. So listening to her from a Democratic point of view is like, oh, she's horrible. She's racist. There's something wrong with that lady. But then when you move toward the middle and you're not on either side and you listen to her, say, yeah, well, she does have a good point. I actually did a story on Ann Coulter. Somebody actually sent it to me. And I was like, you know what? That's an actually interesting point of view. And she says the immigrants don't deserve the help. Civil rights. She said civil rights were for Black people. Why are we talking about it for anybody else but Black people? So I can actually see that. But will, you know, she start, you know, continue talking about that if she's selected to be the vice president? And will the base allow her to do that? And if she's on Trump's ticket, will he be on board with that? You know, so.
But you guys also got to remember, though, Trump is pretty old himself. So, I mean, not saying he's going to drop out and drop down or something. So the vice presidency for these two old men, I mean, we got to be serious of who's going to follow these guys, because once these guys drop, if that does happen, we could be in a lot of trouble.
I just don't think Trump is going to pick either DeSantis or Ramaswamy. I just don't see him doing it. It'll probably be somebody we probably hasn't even entered the Congress. It's going to be the Antichrist. I'm just playing. I'm just kidding.
Well, Demetra and you ladies in the chat, I have a really good question. I have a really good question for you. Michelle Obama. She's never held political office. Her claim to fame is she was sleeping with the president, Mr. Obama. But people are actually thinking, I mean, why is it that we think because a person has slept with another person that they're qualified to be president of the United States? What makes her, in your opinion, qualified to be president of the United States? Even though anybody could do it, in general, there's no like preconceived qualification.
I just think it's I think it has a lot to do with nostalgia. You know, she's married to Barack and people really love Barack, and she's a Black woman, and, you know, she seems to be versed. You know, Michelle Obama's not a dumb woman. I would venture to say she's miles smarter than Kamala, you know.
And she did give Barack a job. So she was his boss at one time.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why people say Michelle will be qualified. She said plenty of times, I don't want to do it. She's also said my husband is a lot better than me because I wouldn't be able to, you know, hold my tongue as much with all the nonsense that goes about. But I think it's in lockstep with that vote blue no matter who. I think that's what it is now. Of course, Michelle is coming out talking about I'm losing sleep. It's like, lady, why should I care about you losing sleep? Get some more triple goose down pillows or whatever. You got the money, you can afford it. Take you some Ambien, some melatonin, magnesium. Hell, you got a husband sitting next to you, telling him to jump up and down on you for a little while and go to sleep. I don't know. You know, why should we care about you losing sleep? Because Trump comes into office. You'll be better off than we are. You know, if there's an angry mob brewing somewhere, they ain't gonna get within 100 feet of your house. It's us that would have to worry about it. So what are you talking about, Shelly? I don't get it. Oops. Let's see. Old school, how you doing? By the way, he says you got to think about who is gonna be after Trump if he gets in. Yeah, that's a really good question. Trump. I said Trump. Thunder. You say, Demetra, turn the radio on and push the orange button on the front. It should say frequency mode. If not, push it again and enter 16. This is okay for the weather. You know, I don't even know if it's charged or anything like that, but I'm definitely gonna have. I saw the book that you can buy too that'll tell you how everything works. So
you don't have the instruction book. I still have my instruction book.
But there's a book I guess a more detailed book I actually saw. So, but it's not actually charged. But this is supposed to keep us connected to life when it goes down, because we all don't have a bunker like Mark Zuckerberg or anything like that. So,
right. But then again, you got to remember that the towers have to be up and the satellites have to be up. So depending on what's going on, it might not be a good thing, but you could use it to throw it at people.
Right. JJ said Ann Coulter will change her position on African Americans in a second. She might. So that's why I'm saying it's kind of hard to tell. Gerard, he says Trump will not have signed and Democrats will not have passed the CARES Act stimulus check if we weren't in lockdown. Let's stop talking like he wanted to do that. It saved the economy. I would say he was a little bit more liberal with the purse strings, and Biden was like, enough, get back to work. He was, so I know
Biden that shortchanged us $400 or something, that stimulus check.
After he did all that damn lying in Georgia, y'all get out and get Warnock and Ossoff in office. Those checks are gonna start rolling off immediately. And then he said, "Oh, about that, Trump gave y'all, what was it? I don't know, 1,400, and I'm gonna give you 6, and then y'all got to get back to work." And ain't nobody mad about that. But imagine if that was Trump. Y'all never forget it. And again, I'm not even an advocate for Trump. I'm just, let's be logical here. Hey, Yanni, how you doing this fine evening? Percy, how you doing? Says she's not running on nothing for Black people. We over that symbolism bullcrap. I totally agree with you. Michael, he says Michelle Obama graduated from Harvard University, has a lot of connection. There are other women that can choose from besides her. Yeah, she says she don't want to do it unless they force her to do it. But she said she ain't trying to do all of that. And Natural Lock, you say exactly. All right, let's see here. Just skip down a little bit. Shirley, you say she can't sleep because Trump is coming for them too. You know what? You might be on to something. Thunder says you don't need a book. Go to YouTube University and you'll learn a lot fast. I plan to. Beverly says, all Donovan, your cats are beautiful. What's their names? You got 500 of them.
Yeah, Misty, T'Challa, the black cat, the real black cat's T'Challa.
George.
Tylen, and this is George Maverick Tomcat.
Damn. Bug Horse, how you doing? He says, where's Walter? He just texted me and said one of his Airbnb guests fell down the stairs. So that's why he had to go. So hopefully, they're okay. Yikes.
No big deal. When you do those Airbnbs, you sign away those rights of liability.
Right. Timothy say it will be interesting to see who the next president will be, because some people who are sheep think they are a leader and want someone to lead them. Donovan, get a dog, man. He has a dog. His bell. That y'all know that song, Our House is a Very Fine House. Our house is a very, very, very fine house with 20 cats in the yard. That's Donovan.
Wait, there was a Stephen King movie. If you notice a lot of Stephen King movies, he has deals with cats. There was that one where that one lady was in there and the cats were all in the front yard.
Was it cat?
No, it wasn't cat. What's the name of that movie? I love that movie, and it had the cat named Clovis. Get the bad guy, Clovis. Get the bad guy.
Cat people.
No, it wasn't cat people, but it was. She was like an alien. They were alien vampires or something, and the cats actually saved the day at the end of the movie. In base, Sleepwalkers. That's what it was. Yanni said Sleepwalkers. Yeah. Look, I'm telling you guys. Look. I'm telling you guys. Cats were worshipped in Egypt, and they protect the underworld. So if you don't like cats, you guys are doing the wrong thing. There could be some bad spirits in your house, and you don't have nobody to protect you.
What they gonna do?
The cats protect you from spirits in the underworld. They're the guardians of the underworld.
Got you.
So.
Thunder, you say just in case, get some extra blankets. Yeah, y'all, there's supposed to be a cold, a winter freeze next week. I'm not looking forward to that, but it's going to be like that everywhere. Donovan, y'all got some pretty bad weather coming your way as well. They said floods. It's going to rain a lot. I think New York is going to flood potentially, if not already. So they said there's kind of everywhere in the United States is going to be going through it. So hopefully it's not too bad next week. It would really suck. But we
Global warming.
what?
Global warming.
Global warming. There's something going on. Gonna be a 19 degree day next week. So my daughter and I we're taking some measures to prepare. I ordered a hot plate. Now some of you guys are like, well, if the electricity goes off, how you gonna use a hot plate? Because we got a hybrid car with some plugs up in it. So we gonna be up in that car cooking what you want, sis. I mean, I'm just saying, I don't want to be eating nothing, cold or nothing like that. So I did order a hot plate. And like I said, if the electricity goes out, we'll be in the car. We'll be able to watch a little. I don't know if if the internet is out, but we don't necessarily need the internet. You got Verizon. We'll watch TV and.
You got your solar chargers, your solar panels, like that. Okay.
I got no solar panels, but we got the chargers, all that other stuff. So we gonna be all right. You know what I mean? Keep the car gassed up and keep my car gassed up. So yeah, we grilling in the Prius. You got that? We should make that a YouTube grilling in the Prius. It's gonna be going down. You can believe that. You said ERCOT is sending out a warning already. It's like, so basically y'all plan on cutting off the damn electricity around here. See, let me go on back to California. At least I know if an earthquake happened, it'll be temporary. But I moved here to Texas the year, so I wasn't even here like 4 months when the freeze happened. And I said, this cannot be real life. This can't be real life. Then, of course, you got to bleed the pipes and, turn on water. I know how to do all of that, but it's like, it's such a hassle. But it's better than having, your pipes bursting all over the house. So, Arnie says, get a down comforter, Demetri. I got all of that. But, 19 degrees, nobody's meant to survive 19 degree weather. You'll just be cold regardless. So, but we're going to be in the car with the heat on. You believe that if that happens?
Well, I'll tell you what, I was stationed in Alaska for 4 or 5 years. I think it was 5 years going on. Well, about 4.5 years. I went up to Barrow, Alaska, the top of the world. We flew up there. 60 below. I had all my major gear on and I was still freezing. It was so cold up there, we could not shut the aircraft engines off because they will freeze that quick.
Yeah, nobody's meant to survive 19 degree weather. Thunder says, for your information, there are 2-person sleeping bags. I'm just saying. Yeah, but like I said, as long as the car is gassed up and the heat goes out or the electricity goes out, we'll be in that mug. That it gets good heat. My daughter's got 15 Snuggies. I'm sure she'll loan me one and a blanket. And like I said, the Netflix and we got all. We'll be entertained. I'll take some books out there in the car. I'm hoping that doesn't happen. I really am, because it's just not dignified. It's not sexy at all.
Hey, I want to jump real quick. Mallow Factor says Trump says he wants to terminate the Constitution. Can't vote for that either. Well, the point is, even if he terminates the Constitution, how does that affect Black people? That's just my question. How does that affect Black people? We're at the bottom. When you're at the bottom, what affects you? If you're at the bottom of the economic scale, what could possibly affect you at this point?
Yeah, I heard that he said that, but he can't do that.
Right. But even if he did, as Black people, we're at the bottom. Everybody's put ahead of us, regardless of the economics. If you believe economics, whatever, everybody's put ahead of us. Was that supposed to make me be afraid? We're at the bottom. The only thing we can do is go up at this point. So why would we be afraid if he terminates the Constitution, which it's never going to happen, but if he did.
Right. And Damien says, out here in Antelope Valley, we've had our power outages. Yeah, my dad is in Lancaster, which is, I guess, close to Antelope Valley. But hopefully that doesn't happen, because I know it gets cold where you guys are in Lancaster, Antelope Valley. It is freezing.
The desert always gets cold, yeah.
And snow. Like when I would go drive to my dad's, it's snow, all up in the mountains and all of that. San Bernardino, and then it goes to Los Angeles County is snow. So it gets really cold there. But of course, it says,
by the way, you guys, give Demetra a round of applause, because growing up, she has never, outside of maybe Santa Barbara when she was little, She stayed within the confines of San Bernardino County.
Shut up, fool. Yeah. Imagine that. All the things I've seen there. Perry says, even if he picks Marjorie Taylor Greene, I'll probably sit it out. I don't think he'll pick her, even though she's like one of his biggest cheerleaders. I don't think he's going to pick her because you can't have two dummies in the White House. Somebody got to have a little sense. And between her and Trump, it's just, wow. I mean, for God's sake, the man puts ketchup on everything.
He throws ketchup against the walls.
Right. So you're saying that Michelle would rather have the 40 acres. They could keep the mule, few tractors with a wall so them folks can't come to my land. Right. Give me a couple of, I'll take a G-Wagon or two. I'll take a tractor as well, a high-powered truck. I'll take that as well, Thunder says, and make sure to charge that radio. Oh, yeah, we going to be good to go. Trust me, I hope it don't happen, but it probably will, welcome to Texas, right?
Well, I just want to say this. Even though you've got some very strong women out there in situations, ladies, this is one of those times where you need a man. It sure would be nice to have a man.
Yeah. I ain't in these streets by myself by choice, okay? I'm just saying, okay? Trust me, I tell you, every time I drag the trash can out to the curb, I'm like, this is unglamorous, okay? That I should not be doing this, okay? I said to y'all, this past summer, I had to repair the air conditioning, insulation myself. And as I was bending over and it was hot, I'm sweating everywhere. I'm like, this is so unglamorous. It's not fabulous. Be nice to be watching a man do this. You want something cold to drink? You hot? Okay, don't worry. But that was me. Like Bob the Builder or whatever, So trust me.
And again, I'm going to tell you, okay, this is just weather. Let's say that the stuff does kick off in the next election. It kicks off. How many of you guys have defensive weapons to defend yourself and your family? How many of you guys got that, ladies?
I have a rolling pin. Does that work? A good frying pan? Stop.
These are the things we got to think about. And isn't it funny that they only do gun buybacks in the Black community? Have you ever heard of gun buybacks in the Asian community, the Hispanic community? Well, in LA, so sometimes they do it there, but it's mostly in the Black community. Why does the Democratic Party push that so hard? Because an unarmed society is easy to control.
Black America says, you definitely are. You don't want to submit yourself. You don't know what it is. You don't know me. You ain't never been with me. Ain't no man that I've ever been with gonna tell you that Demetra is not submissive. Never. They're never gonna tell you that. Never. I promise you, they won't. They won't. Jump shot. How you doing? Says I need to move to DC. Okay. I got a lot of miles on Spirit, so I might be heading your way. Okay, I might be. Yeah, Black Americans say you have a stick. Okay. Thunder says a defensive tools. This is Texas, sir.
Well, you guys are lucky to be in Texas. You could walk into a store the same day and purchase a weapon. In California, they want to know where your mama was born. Is she Black, mulatto? I mean, it's ridiculous. Anytime you buy ammunition here, they got to put out your information. It goes up to Sacramento, goes into the database, so they know how much ammunition you have stacked up. It's just crazy here. It's crazy. Do not come to California. Do not. This is a Democratic state, by the way. Democratic state. They will do everything they can to keep you unarmed.
It is our pleasure, Michelle. Yeah, so, hopefully none of that stuff happens. But Thunder, like you said, the wind blows good here. You got your fingers crossed like, oh my God, is the power going to go out? The light's going to start flickering. I've never had this experience in my life in California. I mean, we go through a whole lot of stuff and the lights don't even flicker. There was one time that in recent history I can remember the temperature got like 120 degrees. So of course electricity went out because everybody was like it's hot and they had the air on and it was out for a while, like a day, if that. So that's really I can understand that, but the wind blows, heavy thunder happens, and like what are we doing here? So it's really crazy. And let's see here. You also say in Texas they sell pew pews next to the popcorn and soda. I'll say this: I will not be unprotected. Put it that way. Okay, I'm gonna pray to the Lord Almighty. So I'm just playing. I would do that too, but yeah, somebody will be very sorry if they try to be with the stuff. Perry says in Virginia you can get your gun the same day as well. William says, I'm still looking at Savannah, Georgia for my next home. Georgia, they have their issues too. I guess there's nowhere in the United States they don't have these issues, but yeah, it is what it is. But we'll see next week what happens. But it does, Donovan, you do hit on a good point. It does really remind you, especially as a woman, and I've never been one of the women. I don't need a man. I've never been that woman. I don't need a man or anything like that. But it does really remind you of, wow, how nice it is to have one around. But, what can you do? And I hope my dad is probably going to watch this and be like, you need to come home. And don't, because my dad worries, it's like you're out there by yourself, type of thing. You need to come back and, and all of that. So, we'll see. We'll be all right. I'm sure of it. So anyway, Donovan, you got anything to say before we leave out of here?
I just want to say I am looking forward to Black people sending a message to the Democratic Party in this election cycle like they did in Louisiana, like they did in, was it Alabama or Mississippi when they're in those voting cycles, like they did in Houston. I mean, people are waking up and they're seeing that your vote, if used intelligently, sends a message to where now they're listening like, oh my God, we are actually going to have to start giving these Negroes something. They're not backing down. And this is where we're at today. And when you vote, you got to think about this. You got to vote for the next generation. We're supposed to be making it better for the next generation, not easier. A lot of you women, you moms out there, you guys get that confused. You're not making it easier. You want to make the world better. And that's what we're supposed to be doing.
All right, Marvel Factory, you say you got slugs. Okay. So anyway, we'll see y'all Sunday. Sunday is actually going to be a nice day. It's going to be almost 80 degrees here. And then after that, it's going to be like low 30s or something. So it's weird. Anyway, we'll be back here Sunday. What we'll talk about, I don't know, but we'll definitely be here to have a good time and a conversation with y'all. So in the meantime, you guys be good. Have a great day. And wherever you live, make sure, you're prepared as well, because we just never know. Yanni says, keep your eyes on Louisiana. We are in a new fight. He's putting all Trump old allies in office. Okay, we'll definitely pay attention.
But Yanni, here's the thing with that, just real quick. Where's the Democratic pushback? These parties work together. You just can't put somebody in there without, somebody should be saying something, but they're quietly working together to, oh, look, the Republicans are doing this. Oh, the Democrats are doing this. That's the game. That's the game. And they're letting it happen. So there it is.
Absolutely. So we love and appreciate every last one of y'all. See y'all on Sunday. Peace.